welcome to another edition of the Win the Third podcast with Logan Stieber. I'm Matt Finkes, giving you all the latest with Ohio State wrestling. And, man, this was a tough week for the Buckeyes. I mean, we'll talk about the Penn State duel and then just kind of talk about how you'd manage this long break here before the Big Tens. But let's talk about just the Penn State duel. Obviously, matches were even, 5-5 split on the matches, so it's going to come down to bonus points. In years past, that really favored Penn State. I mean, when you had the Nolfs and the Bo Nichols and those guys, they were always getting bonus points. This year, I mean, you kind of felt like the Buckeyes, if they could get a split, might have that chance. If Colin Moore could get some bonus points and they could mitigate some things on the other end. Didn't turn out well. Probably, two matches that were maybe key in that. Obviously, Luke Pletcher, kind of getting the defeat with Nick Lee in the 1-versus-2 matchup. But then Caleb Romero, with the 46-second pin by Mark Hall. Obviously, Mark Hall, not a bad wrestler at all. But let's just kind of walk through kind of how the match went. Started off great for the Buckeyes. I mean, you got to win at 125 and kind of a toss-up match.
Yeah, I mean, that's – it was a match we talked about. Ohio State had to win.
Yeah.
And I think Malik did a good job. He controlled it. He didn't get too crazy. And he wrestled well in a very tough place. It's that match at the Big Tens or a random open. It could be totally different.
Mm-hmm.
But at home, in a big match, stressful match, and Malik hasn't had that great of a season. So for him to go out there and wrestle smart like he did and get the win was huge.
That's a big confidence builder as you look.
Yeah.
This 2 weeks of preparation heading into the Big Ten. Huge confidence builder for him, like you said, to go into a place like Bryce Jordan and get that big win. Another match that we kind of looked at as possibly a toss-up was going to be tough for whoever wrestled. But 133, Ohio State takes the loss there to kind of even things back up.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan, he did a good job early fighting, and then he fell off hard. Yeah. But I do give him credit. He kind of found himself late, got in on the leg, and helped save a point.
Yeah.
Got in on the leg. It looked like RBY was going to take him down again, get the major, and kind of get the crowd going crazy. And then Jordan just did a good job. He shot in, wasted a couple seconds. Time expired.
Yeah.
And while he didn't wrestle well to win, he wrestled well the last 15 seconds too. Not give up the bonus.
And that's what we talked about.
Best
last week is it kind of those situational wrestling spots where maybe you're looking at that, and does that matter if that guy's attacking, and what can you do to prevent that one team point that could be the difference in the match? And from kind of the mistakes he made the weeks prior to this, making sure he saved that bonus point, that was huge for him.
Yeah, that was a positive moment. And probably, for him looking back, probably a negative match, right? He didn't wrestle well. He got tired, gave up a lot of easy ones, but a positive moment at the end of the match where, if you'd have told us before it was going to be 5-5, every bonus point, would have really, really mattered.
Absolutely.
And it did. So, yeah.
Then we go to 41. That was the big marquee matchup, 1-versus-2, two undefeated guys, multiple time All-Americans on each side. It looked like Luke was in control of this match early, and then again, from kind of the fan's perspective, it's the first time I've seen Luke look tired.
Yeah.
Like that he kind of ran out of gas and just, it kind of took that. You never see, I can't remember since maybe his sophomore year, a time where I've seen Luke take a kind of a half shot and get flattened out on the mat, which happened for that third takedown for Nick Lee.
Yeah, I think it's probably a mixture of a lot of things. I think stress, the environment, and just the strain that was needed to wrestle Nick Lee. I don't think that he had felt it, and he had strained that hard.
Yeah.
And I think, you can see in his matches he's working really hard. He's trying. He's almost like he's sprinting out there,
but
trying
it's
to score
different.
Lots of points, but it's different strain.
Yeah.
And when your moves aren't working, that's stressful. So I think it was very good for Luke to feel it and wrestle it, and I think for him, I see a lot of resemblance in Joey with Nick Lee,
mm-hmm.
and even me, wrestling with Rutherford, where it wasn't a technical issue where Luke was getting beat.
Yeah.
He got a little bit tired, made some poor decisions because of being tired, and Nick Lee capitalized on him. So I think it's something where it's positive to look forward into because it's something that you could fix.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something again. Like you went through your senior year with Rutherford. I mean, talk about how it is for a guy who I was trying to think back. I mean, the last time Luke was really tested in a match was probably maybe the second duel of the year
Yeah,
in Stanford.
yeah,
I mean, so that's a long stretch to go up against some really quality opponents too. I
yeah,
mean, you wrestled some top 5 guys in that stretch and dominated them.
yeah,
That is, I mean, it is a big factor for guys when you're so dominant for so long and then come into someone who is, equally as matched as you and maybe has had that pressure put on him before, in the matches that he's had, talking about Nick Lee, he's been kind of in those stress situations a couple more times this year than Luke has. And maybe just that experience was the difference in that Luke, not to say that, I mean, obviously Luke has been in
yeah.
stressful matches, but
Right.
this year, not really with kind of the style and the pace that he was going at. I think maybe, again, the style that Luke wrestled in years past, he was maybe built for those stress because he was winning 4-3. He
Yeah.
was winning 3-2. Those are kind of built. This year he's been on those sprints and maybe, is that something he's got to evaluate? Is just his tactic and his pace going against a Nick Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I think his pace is good. I think his pace was good early. I think he knows now that Nick Lee is going to keep that same pace, and he's going to try extremely hard. So I just think it was good for him to feel it. I think that Luke's going to have to just put more workload in, and if he can last, right? If he can wrestle like that against Nick Lee for 7 minutes, I feel good.
Yeah.
Obviously, if either of them fall off, then it's going to be very good for the other. So I think for Luke, it's scoring more takedowns early, and being able to hold up longer.
Yeah.
And,
And I mean, in all reality, we're looking at 2 weeks probably seeing a rematch of this in the finals and at Rutgers for the Big Ten championships. I mean, this is really a weight class that it seems like it's kind of those two guys and everybody else. Now, I mean, obviously, when you get in the NCAAs,
right, of course.
anything can happen. But right now, it looks like is that kind of what as a wrestler, do you kind of look at it that way? Are you training for Nick Lee, or are you just going about your normal training and thinking, okay, then I've got to make these slight adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, in a case like this, you're training for Nick Lee.
Okay.
And the good thing about that is, right, it's not overlooking anybody else because Nick Lee's the best.
Yeah.
So while you're training for Nick Lee, you're also preparing yourself for the Mitch McKees and the Chad Reds and the Max Mirans. But you're training for someone like that and training on what he does.
Okay.
And if you can get better at that, it'll ultimately help you in your earlier rounds.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously that was a match in the duel. If that goes the other way, that's huge for Ohio State as well. But then we go to 49, and Sammy Sasso, you've talked about it, and he just continues to appear to progress week after week.
Yeah, I mean, their guy did a good job of defending. He wasn't offensive, but good job defending in a tough environment. Sammy couldn't get his offense going, and maybe in the beginning of the year, maybe Sammy would have gotten tired or stressed and given up or done something that was not the best decision. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you give up a takedown or something, and Sammy kind of stuck with his best stuff, his underhooks, and kept driving and just kind of stuck with his game plan. And it took longer than expected, but he got to a single leg and finished nice and easy, and it's a big win. I mean, it's so different in a dual meet, whereas it's in a tournament maybe you win by 4 or 5 against someone like that, and it's just kind of ho hum tough match.
Mm-hmm.
But this was huge. This could have been.
I mean, especially after the loss with Luke. I mean, that was almost a must win if Ohio State was going to stay in that match.
Yeah, it's stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful, and it means so much in the moment. So just to be able to have a focused mind out there and go out there and do your job, right? And he just did a great job with that.
Yeah. Looking at moving up to the next weight class, 57. Again, we talked about it last week. Was a match where you had 4 different guys possibly weighing in for both teams, and you didn't know what was going to come about. How much strategy do you think? Because at that point, I think the match was Penn State up by 1, or no, it was tied at that point.
Well, we had 25 and 49 win, and they had
they had 33 and 41. So I mean, it was
6-6.
Yeah, so it was 6-6 at that point. How much strategy goes into figuring who you're sending out for that, or do you think it's predetermined before the match even starts, or do you think that's kind of like because you see it a lot in high school where
Yeah.
it's kind of matchup decisions? I mean, watching the state duels last week, you see a lot of guys kind of moving around. Obviously, guys aren't bumping up and down necessarily in
Yeah.
college, but just the guy that you send out.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit strategic. I think that I'm not sure exactly the coach's plan, but I think that Quinn was gonna wrestle. And I think Penn State figured Quinn was gonna wrestle, and I think that Quinn probably, or at least Penn State thought that he would be able to turn their other guy.
Okay.
And I think with Berge, I think he probably isn't quite ready. I
Yeah.
think he's been out for a while,
It's only
but
his third or fourth match back, I think.
yeah. So I think first match since November.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so I think that they thought in their mind, well, one, Quinn's undersized and Bergie's good, even though he's been out for a while, so maybe he gets to win. But if nothing else, he loses close.
Gotcha.
And what Quinn being good on top, in their mind, maybe Quinn can get some turns, get a pin, something crazy happen,
Mm-hmm.
and really kind of change the landscape of the duel. So I think it was strategic on both ends, and Quinn got tough. I mean,
Yeah.
Bergie's good, but Quinn kept wearing him out, wearing him out, wearing him out. Scored a takedown and wrote him out at the end, and it was very well executed by Quinn,
Yeah.
and just a great match.
I mean, that's so tough for a guy. I mean, you've had to experience this coming back from injury,
Yeah,
getting back in. I mean, no matter what the sport, you can practice and condition and train all you want in practice. Nothing compares to what you do in competition.
yeah,
And it's just a totally different world. And I mean, when you're thrown into that competition, I mean, especially in a sport like wrestling where it's just one-on-one and constant pressure. I mean, just talk about how difficult that is for a guy. I mean, we've seen it with a lot of the Jordans with Bo and with
Yeah.
with Rocky this year coming back and just talk about how hard that is to get back into Matt's Matt time shape. So to
yeah.
speak.
Well, it's just tough because of the environment and the pressure, right? When you're in practice, you're wrestling live, but it's not the same as a real match, right? There's not people watching you,
Yeah.
and there's 30 other guys wrestling. So and in practice, your moves are working.
Yeah.
It's in a match. You get tired because the stuff you're doing doesn't work. If you don't do anything, it's kind of like kind of low stress. But when you're trying stuff and your moves aren't working, it's tiring.
Yeah.
It's stressful. And I think you saw it with Berge where he was trying some things and he Quinn was doing a good job defending and he kept wrestling through the positions and Quinn felt great. And he was able to kind of score at the end. So it'll be interesting to see if Berge can if he's their guy going forward.
Yeah.
And if he can kind of get it back together before Big Tens.
Yeah. So then we go to 65. This is where these next two matches where obviously Penn State has a couple of defending national champs coming back, two-timer and Vincenzo Joseph, one-time champ and Mark Hall, but has been in the finals the other two times as well. This is something where Ohio State has some quality guys, but you're looking to mitigate bonus points almost at this from guys ranked in the top 15. That's an interesting scenario to be in and put Ethan Smith in to start off at 65.
Yeah, I mean I think Ethan he didn't realize, and it's probably something that is kind of the theme of the whole year. He doesn't realize how good he is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean he was wrestling with Vincenzo for a while, took him down, was in the match for a long time. And I think he just kind of fell off a little bit, lost a little bit of focus, and when he did that, Vincenzo started scoring.
Yeah,
and just
he can score so fast.
Couple,
big moves
yeah.
so fast. It's just that's what he does. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not a guy who's going to beat you with 5 single legs. He's going to score a 4 or 5 or 6 point move at some point.
Yeah, and for Ethan, it's just the stay focused, right? If he can stay focused and staying, what he's doing with his game plan, you never know when the other guy's gonna break. You just have to last 1 second longer.
Yeah.
Right, and then as they start to fall off, then your energy output doesn't need to be as much because they're done. And Vincenzo just again lasted a little bit longer than Ethan, but. If Ethan can put it together, I mean, you've seen it. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
He has great attacks. He's a good wrestler. He wrestles hard. So he needs a good couple weeks here and then get ready for.
Yeah, I mean, he and Caleb are going to be two big factors in where Ohio State stands as teams.
Yeah.
The next 2 weeks of how far those guys can go. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning. It's one of those things where you're watching it and you want to just yell through the screen and
Yeah.
tell him that it's coming, and you're standing, and obviously not a lot of experience wrestling Mark Hall, so it's different than watching tape on him and then actually experiencing it. But that was just a typical Mark Hall thing. I mean,
Yeah.
he's hit that on so many guys. He's a big move guy. He can pull off the moves that probably 98% of other wrestlers can't do. And he's doing things that junior high kids
Yeah.
do and who are successful with it. A
Right.
college coach will tell you, do not do that.
Yeah.
That's going to put you in jeopardy. But was able to hit the big move and get the pin in 46 seconds, and that was really, I mean, probably the major difference in the match.
Yeah, that probably ended the dual meet, unless we had multiple upsets, or Colin had a pin, and unfortunately, right,
Yeah.
Caleb will want that one back for a long time. But it happened, and you just have to learn from it. And again, it's a focus thing.
Yeah.
It's a. I think everybody knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I think you can hear Jay in the video saying, watch out for the twister or whatever. So, is what it is, and kind of have to move on.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, I mean, I would think that you just have to kind of. Do you wrestle a guy different that has those abilities to to hit you from anywhere and at any time than you do? Are you more guarded? Do you kind of have to back down what you do offensively almost because they can score on you in big ways from those positions? I mean, you can't wrestle him like you
Yeah,
wrestle the normal guy on this.
yeah. I mean, I think if you wrestle kind of wild, yes. But I mean, if you watch Caleb, he doesn't wrestle wild.
No.
He's in his stance. He fakes, double legs, turns into a single leg. So Caleb's a very controlled wrestler. So for Caleb, I don't think he does anything different.
Okay.
If he gets caught in a front headlock, he knows not to get rolled.
Yeah.
He knows it's coming. But for him, he should open up because you're shooting a double leg, you're safe.
Mm-hmm.
You're not getting put in bad position when you shoot a double leg. You're compact. You blast
Yeah.
through them. You either hit them or you don't. So Caleb's not doing all these crazy wild moves to put himself in danger.
He's not Sammy Sasso.
Right. Yeah. Sammy puts himself in danger. So that's a little different. But for Caleb, it's all right. They have to wrestle him again.
Yeah.
Just wrestle him how you want to wrestle him, how you normally wrestle, and don't get caught in the twister.
Yeah, I mean, and then going up to 84, Rocky just looked like the moment he wasn't ready for that environment for that moment. I mean, that's just he didn't wrestle. I feel like the way you and I have seen him wrestle before, just like that, just wasn't ready.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Because the Aaron Brooks is very good. I mean, very very good. He's ranked lower than I think he's going to finish. He's really good. But Rocky just it was almost as if he was probably trying to tell his body to move,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't moving.
Yeah.
Aaron, he just did the same shot over and over again on him. So, probably the moment, moment was big. Probably froze up out there. And just a match where it probably went by. If I'm Rocky and I've been in these matches before, it probably went by so fast, and he was probably so not tired at the end of it, thinking like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Like, why did I not move my leg? So, tough one for him. So yeah, just a tough one. It's a for him, he's got to be better. If he wants to accomplish his goals, right, and the team wants to do what they're going to do, he just has to be better, whether he's stuck in the moment or not. He's got to readjust.
Because the moments are only going to get bigger from here on out.
Yeah. So, but learning experience, and again, it's something where it does stink, but if you learn from it, then it's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
So,
Colin, we kind of been waiting for this matchup for a long time. It happened, and Colin really, came out and performed. I mean, I feel like at a high level, we thought that this might be a little bit of a stylistic challenge for him, but man, he powered right through it.
Yeah. Rashid. Yeah, Rashid looks like he is. He looks like he's ready to be done. I mean, he looks tired out there. He just looks like he's ready to be done. And Colin
just
did
so many injuries over the year.
Yeah.
It seems like he's never been a guy that's been able to compete a full season, even when they get to the NCAAs.
I mean, he was really good 2 years ago.
Yeah.
When he was cradling everybody.
Yeah.
He was strong enough. He was really good 2 years ago.
And wrestling out of weight class at that point too.
Yeah. So I think that he looks like he's ready to be done, and maybe he had a bad week. I don't know, or I mean he's had a bad year.
Yeah.
With injuries and stuff. So, but Colin looked good. In my mind, kind of as a kind of coach, former wrestler, teammate. in my mind, I thought he should have had 2 more takedowns
Yeah.
at the end of the first and end of the second.
Yeah.
I think that for him to keep doing what he needs to do, he needs to push to get more takedowns. So while he did win big, he probably needed 2 more. Ending the period on top is always key.
Yeah.
So first and second period, but he did his job. Won by a major against a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's talented.
Hasn't had a good year,
Yeah,
but
just hasn't had a
but
good
a
year.
tough guy nonetheless, and good way to finish out the kind of regular season.
Yeah, I mean, and then is this the biggest win for Gas Tank Gary of the season so far?
Yeah, I think it is.
I mean,
we talked about it,
yeah.
right? I said
Guy his size he can compete with,
well,
maybe score some offense.
I thought Neville's was his size. Neville's looked like, Neville's 260.
Yeah.
He looked double. He looked so much bigger. But even though he's bigger, I said it last week. I feel confident with Gary in the third period.
Yeah.
He tries hard, and it's stressful. When you know the guy's going to be coming in the third period, it's just stressful. And Gary, Gary looked so strong lifting him up.
Yeah.
If you watch it, you can see. Gary's about 225, and I think Neville's is 260. And I thought Neville's was smaller too. I don't know why.
I don't know.
But
his brother wasn't that big.
Yeah, I have to go look back. But man, Gary was impressive.
Yeah.
Just in his ability to stay focused. The one time Neville's ran him out of bounds real far, and it was just stay focused in the match. Just stay focused.
I think you've seen opponents take two different tacks. You've got the guys who are kind of on that elite level, that Iowa, Minnesota heavyweights that are kind of just a little bit on that higher level. But it seems like the guys that are that Gary's competing with, some of them are very reserved at the beginning when that look like they should have opportunities, and it looks like maybe they're trying to save.
Yeah, they're trying to save
that self. Or I think you see guys like trying to sprint out and get a lead and hang on. And is that getting in guys' heads? The whole name. Everyone has adopted it now. Flow Wrestling. Everyone is on the Gas Tank Gary train.
Yeah, it started out as a name, and now he's living it. He's believing in it, and he's kind of become this guy who can score at the end. He's in great shape, and whether they're sprinting out to try to get a big lead and hold on, or they're kind of conserving their energy, both those are good for Gary.
Yeah,
because that means there's a fear, and just from somebody who's done it and who's been out there afraid of getting tired, it's not a good thing. And if you're scared of getting tired, you're gonna get tired, and it's not a fun thing. It's stressful knowing before the match, like, gosh, man, if it's close, it's gonna be tough at the end.
Yeah,
and I've been there.
Yeah,
and I've held on, I've lost them, and it's stressful thinking about it. So it's Gary's done a good job. I'm really proud of Gary, and the coaches have done such a good job with him. It's you see the blaming of some failures, end of the year when things don't go well. Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? But if you really look at it, man, they've done a good job.
Yeah,
Gary. But it's right. It's 100% Gary, 100% coaches, right?
Yeah.
It's always on them. But man, both parties doing a great job.
Yeah. So that wraps up Ohio State's dual meet season. Not the best dual meet record that they've come out with, but again, at the end of the day, you've had a lot of adversity over the course of this season, injuries and lineup changes and everything. But now you look at what you're going to do next. What's the next step? We'll take a quick break. Thank our sponsor, FP Group, Financial Providence Group. You can go to their website, fpgroup.us, and you can look there if you're in need of final expense insurance and want to protect your family and loved ones, or if you're looking for a new career. They're currently hiring agents here in Ohio. All you need to do is call 937-414-6230. That's 937-414-6230. If you're looking to make a career change, I know those guys can get you moving and get you going on the right path. Now, Logan, we're looking at a long layoff here. You got a 2-week layoff before you go out to New Jersey for the Big Tens. What are you doing to prepare? Are you taking some time off to let your body recover a little bit and then getting to work, or what's kind of the schedule for these guys right now?
Yeah, so they're pushing hard right now. So they have like 8 to 10 day hard push where they're getting all the work they need to get in. The 2 days, the runs, lots of live, get yourself really really tired type of work.
Hmm.
And then it's tapering off. So this is a great this is kind of a training period
Yeah.
where they can work them hard. We had I think 6 duels in 17 days at one point, and then the last kind of two single duels. Um, so it's been very tough to get good training in.
Yeah.
You wrestle Sunday, Friday, Sunday, Monday's off, Tuesday's light, Wednesday they go hard, Thursday's
Thursday you
light,
got to
day
back off
before,
again. Yep.
Friday. So if they've had 3 weeks of that where it's they're getting one training day, maybe a week.
Yeah.
So now they're going hard, and it's a good training phase for them for the next week or so, and then they taper off. So it's a good time to kind of not tear them down, but get them tired in a good way. Shorter practices, but harder.
Yeah.
So it's a good training period for them, and they honestly they like it though.
Hmm.
When the practices are 2 hours long and they're kind of they spike the intensity and then they lower it, they spike it. Those are tough.
Yeah.
The hour 15 ones where they get in, they warm up, and they go hard. Those are the best.
Yeah. You want to get in, get out.
Yeah. So while they are tougher, it's everyone likes it more. So it's a good time, good training period.
Do you do something different? I mean, obviously the last tournament you wrestled in was what, the Cliff Keen back in
Yeah.
in December. Now you're looking at multiple matches a day for guys. Especially in the Big Tens,
Yeah.
where it's really condensed. The NCAA is a little bit more
Yeah.
spread out, but Big Tens, really condensed. Do you prepare differently, knowing that you're going to have to wrestle, more than one time in a day than you did for those dual meets?
Not really. I think just some of these guys just getting their weight under control, kind of just figuring out, like, it has
Yeah,
been a
two
while.
weeks is a long time to eat too.
Yeah, so I think that they'll probably have a weight check where they need to be almost like a weigh-in where they're on weight or within a couple pounds, and just getting their body. It is a good time for them to wake up, right? Wake up, get a little breakfast, work hard, train, right? Have a little bit of fuel, and then come back in the afternoon and train again.
Hmm.
And that's kind of simulate kind of a tournament.
Yeah, so I mean that's a lot of people do that. You simulate your day.
Yeah, simulate the
So I
day.
mean,
Yeah.
you're looking at, okay, day one, here's session one. You're going to try to practice within those
Mhm.
times and
Yeah.
do maybe match simulation and take a break, come back in
Yeah.
the afternoon or evening and do the same thing. So they do a lot of that during this period.
Yep. So they'll do that, and probably next week they'll do it where they're getting closer to weight, and do some match simulation, or just at least hard practices where it's simulating the times. Wake up 7 a.m., weigh in, blah blah blah, 9 o'clock start, and then
Mhm.
get back in at 2 o'clock, 2:30 for second practice.
How much is the coaching staff looking at, waiting for those automatic bid numbers to come out, looking at the guys that are going to be kind of those bubble guys, and finding out, okay, here's where we need you to be, here's what we got to do. How much of that strategy goes into this as well from the coaching staff?
It a little bit. Just because I think next week, soon, in next couple of days, everything has to be in,
Hmm.
and then they start allocating the spots.
Yeah.
So once we know what's going on with our with the roster, and the guys. So we know who's in, and then they allocate the spots, and then they start looking at the bracket. So
Yeah.
they look at the pre-seeds, and they start doing, okay, if he wins this one, he loses this next one, right?
Yeah.
This is who he's got to beat, something like that. So it kind of first things first, figuring out 10 guys, and then it's, okay, how many guys automatically qualify, and then it's, okay, so the guys who don't qualify, who do we have to beat to kind of steal a spot?
Yeah. I
So,
mean, and that's got to be. I mean, it's got to be a lot of pressure for the guys that are on that bubble to
Yeah.
make sure that you're getting in that spot, because I mean, again, Big Ten race. Um, I think that's a kind of a microcosm of what you're going to get at the NCAAs. I mean, it has been for the last 5, 6, 7 years. So looking at where you want to be, and Ohio State wants to be on that podium again. They want to
Yeah.
be getting that trophy at the end of it. Yeah, you're going to have your Luke Pletchers and your Colin Moores and your Sammy Sassos, who you expect to
right.
get you major points. But the tournament is always, it seems, I mean, aside from the years that Penn State has just ran away with it, the tournament most of the time is won in the consolation bracket. It's
Yeah.
won by those matches that are coming back, those points that you get coming back through after those losses, and having those guys that are fighting to just make it to the round of 16 and trying to get that All-American spot.
Yeah.
I mean, those are guys that I mean, are the coaches talking to those guys about those scenarios during these next couple weeks?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, right? Not everybody can win the Big Tens and win the national.
Yeah.
So you have to have a short memory when things don't go your way. That it's important that you don't just put your head down and say, all right, I'm done. If I can't win, I'm done. Right? It's for the team.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think it was 2 years ago. Virginia Tech didn't have anyone in the finals.
Yeah.
And had like 6 or 7 guys come back through an All-American and placed, I think, third.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's definitely possible if you.
Yeah, so just getting their minds right. So it's a short memory where yeah, maybe they lose second round, they lose in the quarters, and then they still have to win more to be an All-American, which is what they want to do, which will ultimately help the team, and if you have a chance to pin on the backside, because the wins are only a half a point, but if you pin, right, pin's 2 points, 2.5 points, it really kind of 5x your win.
Is that something that is difficult? I think of just, the psychology of sports that when you get to the college level, whether it's football, whether it's wrestling, when you get to Ohio State, you were the best of the best at your weight class in the state at your, at whatever you were doing, you were the best. That's why you're here.
Right.
You didn't spend a lot of time probably in the consolation brackets if you were wrestling here at Ohio State. So, I mean, how hard is that to teach guys? How hard is that mentality to adapt and to teach guys that have just never been there before, really?
Yeah, well, honestly, they learned during the year. I mean, the Big Ten's schedule is so tough. Our guys who are ranked, like, 7th, Caleb, he's probably, I don't know, his Big Ten, maybe 4-3. Which is, if you look at 4-3, like that's not a good record. 4-4, 5 or 4-5, and you're like, man, they lost 5 times. But he's losing to number 1, he loses number 3, number 4, number 5. So they learned during the year. They learned that it's really tough, and they lose. The sun comes up the next day, and they got to fight.
Yeah, you're back in
it. So they learned during the year. So that's kind of their learning curve.
Gotcha. All right, well, we'll take a big look into the Big Ten tournament in New Jersey here in a couple of weeks. I want to thank our other sponsor, Wrestled Away, the Lee Kemp story. You'll be able to download that on Apple, the App Store, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, anywhere you can find video on demand. Also, be on the lookout. We'll try to get a link with this as well. I think we're going to get that here soon to be able to purchase tickets. There's going to be an exclusive screening during the state wrestling championships at the Gateway Film Center on Saturday. So some limited tickets for that. Obviously, it's a great story. An Ohio guy, Lee Kemp, 2-time state champion, almost the first 4-time national champion, actually lost with a referee's decision his freshman year after a split decision to the defending national champ, and then went on to, at that time, set the record 101 consecutive wins and 3 national titles after that. But just an incredible story, and we'll have that opportunity for you as well. And also thank Financial Providence Group, and we will see you again here soon on the Win the Third podcast on Lettermen Row.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe below to get the latest videos from Lettermen Row.
We got Letterman Live, we've got the practice report, we got rapid reaction. Hey, and we got Buckeye IQ with Zach Bourne.
For sure. We got recruiting breakdowns with Berm. We got whatever you need. Ohio State football and Ohio State athletics, we've got you covered here at Lettermen Row.